over there.
Get on up.
Everybody right there.
Get into it.
Everybody right there.
Get involved.
Everybody just come on up.
So this is The Public Good. Our guest today is Dr. Henry Taylor from the Center for Urban Studies. Thank you for being here, Dr. Taylor. So we're starting by an upcoming event that's coming up. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, we're bringing in Todd Swanstrom from the University of Missouri St. Louis to talk with us about Ferguson and some of the issues that are related to Ferguson and the lessons that we can learn. Most important, what does Ferguson mean within a 21st century context when we're just emerging from this post-racial age or the myth of a post-racial age. So he's coming to our Clarkson Chair at the University at Buffalo, and I thought it would be great to share that talent with the larger community. So we put together an all-star panel, and we're creating a forum where we'll get people to engage with Swanstrom around some of the burning issues that we're facing today, and especially in this city, so that we have a chance to talk about causality as well as some specific and unique problems facing the region.
So the title of this public forum is called Thick Injustice. What does this mean, and how does that relate to Ferguson, Baltimore, and Buffalo?
Thick injustice is a concept that Swanstrom and others have developed, which is very similar in a lot of ways to structural racism. And it talks about the reality that the system that we live in and the structures that undergird that system, along with the public policies that we formulate, the practices of institutions, as well as the practices of individuals, are responsible for the production, the maintenance, and reproduction of racial and social class inequality. Thick injustice and the concept is particularly important because of the character of these systems. They tend to be invisible. They tend to be very difficult to recognize. And as a consequence, it's very hard for people to figure out how to transform and change the conditions that they face. So the first task of thick injustice is to peel back these layers so that we can begin to see very specific manifestations of these structural forces that produce with regularity inequality and racism.
Okay, thank you. And you use the term in our discussion, metropolitan inequality. Looking through a human rights lens, this is a very serious concept. So what do we need to do, and what are some of your recommendations?
Well, the single most important thing about metropolitan inequality that we have to understand is that the passage of home rule that made it possible for all of these little outlying areas in the suburban region to form their own independent municipalities was not by any stretch of the imagination benign. Each one of these boxes has a capacity to capture all forms of revenue based on the location of businesses and industries within them, based on the wealth of the people who live there, and utilize those resources in a very selfish way without sharing across the board. And so by segregating poor people in other municipalities and forcing those other municipalities to carry the great burden and weight for dealing with the challenges that these people face, they're able to escape their responsibilities through the entire region simply by shifting and changing their addresses. I think so we have to fight for a kind of revenue sharing across the region in which no municipality is able to capture the revenue within its own boundaries for its own utilization, that we have a way to capture all of those revenue bases and then spend those resources on the basis of need. So if Lackawanna or Buffalo's East Side needs $50 million more than Amherst, through the resources that we generate, we get those. So we could still do that with a fragmented regional governance system, although I think that we should probably create some type of centralized and decentralized governance structure. But the real key is how we capture revenue across the board. And so I think it has to be a way where no individual municipality is able to capture those revenues. And in a place like Erie County, it's almost a double hit. A place like Clarence, for example, can capture county resources, force the county to pay for road maintenance within its boundary, things that it could clearly do itself. Then, on top of that, capture all of the resources within Clarence through its own property taxes and the like, thereby transforming Clarence into a neighborhood and a community of opportunity. So regions should not have places like Clarence being able to capture one amount of revenue and resources, and a place like Lackawanna not capturing those same resources, even though it has greater levels of problem. And this is why metropolitan inequality, or inequity, which probably is a better term, is something that we will ultimately have to deal with.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you very much. We're looking forward to learning more at your upcoming event. Can you just share with us the details for the event one more time?
The event is going to be on October the 29th, Thursday, from 6 to 8 o'clock at the King Urban Life Center at 138 Genesee Avenue. King Urban Life is a fabulous place, and it's worth just going over there to see again. And it's this effort to bring the knowledge that comes to the university into the community, so the entire region can share with this powerful resource that UB is bringing to this city.
Thank you very much, Dr. Taylor.
Thank you.
Everybody over there.
Get on up.
Everybody right there.
Get into it.
Everybody right there.
Get involved.
Everybody just